All right, let's call the meeting to order. Jill is with us via phone. Jill, can you do roll call?
Certainly. Agnes Bornarski, chairperson.
Present?
Peter Hahn.
Present.
Dana Syvertson.
Here.
Ed Madden.
Present.
Jill Moscow via audio, and John Kamish is not present. We have a quorum.
Okay. And next is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of October 12th, 2017.
I make the motion that we approve the minutes as so drafted.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. Moving on, old business, Morava Nature Center and the storyboards. So the storyboards, we talked last time that there's a couple of sentences that they wanted us to produce and some graphics.
Right, and I did that. I supplied them with our logo. I supplied them with a map showing where the nature trail is and where the creek is in the site. And then I crafted just a quick 2-paragraph blurb about where it started, who did it, and what it is today.
They're still gonna come back with us with editing, and then we'll pass it on to everybody before it actually goes on the board.
Right.
And we talked last time about what the storyboard is and how many signs are gonna be right around there. Anything else we want to mention about it?
Nope.
Any questions?
Nope.
Jill, anything to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. Interpretive signage and features, status and production and final costs.
Okay, I have a lot to say, kind of this. All right, add these, take a look at that. Take a look at this. I have gotten final numbers from Blue Raven Creative. They look great. Basically, we're going with 6 of the small shaped signs, and we're going with 2 larger 24 by 36 signs. These prices include the mounting components for
And the posts.
installing the signs, and it includes wrapping and crating and shipping.
Does it include the posts?
The posts for the larger units are included. The ones for the small ones are just, it's a galvanized post we put in the ground, and
But we have to purchase that post?
this mounting thing just slides right over it.
We
So,
need to
yeah,
purchase the posts.
yeah, we need to purchase the posts. So 6 galvanized pipes should be, like under $75, I would think. So the quotation we got from them is $3,801. And that's way less than what we've seen from a lot of other companies. They do very, very good quality work. We first stumbled into them at Volablog and really, really liked their work, the signs. So we're in the process right now of creating all 6 of the signs and then the 2 large ones. And at the point we have all that stuff done, we'll run it by all of you guys. Everybody gets to, sign off on it. And then we'll turn those over to Blue Raven. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and give the quotation to Christina and have her actually order the signs so we can get rid of that money before our December
15th.
deadline. Okay?
So where we at budget-wise with the
We are currently, we have $20,000 budget. We have spent $9,046.50. So we have the signs for $3,800. That brings us to $52,45.50. We have the tools that we purchased, and I have the purchase order for the tools. We purchased a string trimmer. We purchased a new chainsaw with a 16-inch and a
18-inch.
18-inch blade,
Bar.
And then we purchased a quantity of chains for those as well. I think 10 of the 16s and 4 of the 18s. And those have been ordered. That should be coming in soon. And then Agnes placed an order for Possibility Place, which was our last workday at Marava, for
That was-
$1,093.50.
And those are trees and shrubs. And
Trees
so
and
there
shrubs.
was 3 oak trees, red oak, white oak, and bur oak, that were planted this last workday by volunteers. We had a really great
It
turnout.
was
It
a
was very
phenomenal
nice.
turnout. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't
then-
rain or anything. It was,
Well, it did rain a little bit, but
Yeah,
it was fine.
we got
Um,
wet.
It didn't rain. There was 3 musclewood trees for Pinus caroliniana, and then we had 5 shrubs. We had hazelnut shrubs and 9 bark shrubs that we planted there.
So the bottom line is it leaves us with a balance, when you deduct all that, of $2,914.62.
After all the signs.
And what we're looking at doing now is, I have Blue Raven trying to find what they have in their reservoir of signs to do a temporal board. So it'd be like either a chalkboard behind doors or, whatever it is. So at some point,
So that it can be, we can write things in there, but it could be protected from
Right.
vandalism and from the elements. And so it would say something like,
yeah, see the
Notice the
blooming of
lobelia
the
blooming or-
giant American bellflowers are blooming today. Look at the blue plants over this way or whatever.
and it could be changed every week or
And are
2.
we looking, this is money that needs to be spent by the end of the year?
December 15th.
Correct, by the end of the year. So that will be one of it, and I believe you're saying
And then the rest
seed
is
the rest?
no more than $200 on the metallic signs that would be attached to plants, shrubs, and trees. And they would be permanent fixtures, either, I don't know if they're gonna be etched or not.
Yeah, we were gonna take them to Creative out in Buffalo Grove and have them, they have a laser, they just etch into
So
the
it's more
steel.
permanent.
So it's permanent.
So that would be another $200 or $300, and then the rest would be on seed.
Or what we're gonna do is have Emerald Landscaping come back out and look at the creek stones. From those heavy rains we had, they took a little nosedive, so we're.
It's
he's
another
gonna-
option, but we
he's
haven't
gonna-
discussed that with
No, we
everybody.
haven't. He's going to come out and take a look and give us an estimate on what it would take to prop those up and then put heavy river rock underneath it so that they stay stable.
What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it's, it's a problem with the constant flow in there. If you get a good flow of rain in there, they're gonna, maybe a bigger rock would hold them.
Yeah, no guarantee.
Well, he said he had some
of it's natural
ideas.
settlement anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's
Yeah.
gonna that
They're still
bad.
fine, they're functional, you can
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
across them, there's no
Yeah.
problem. They settled maybe
Yeah.
6 to 8 inches,
Yeah.
so.
He said he had some ideas. He had a death in the family, so he's out of commission until like the end of next week, I think. He said he would try to get out.
Yeah.
So we'll know more here shortly.
Yeah, all right.
But it's definitely worth taking a look at.
Yeah, something, when he comes out, maybe, I've seen sometimes where they put a whole bag of cement or 2 underneath, like sackweed, or in time, it hardens just like
Oh, sure, yeah.
so that might be
Yeah, that's a great idea,
Jen?
Peter. I'll ask him about that.
Now, on the signs, John's not gonna cry that he's not in the picture. Well,
Okay,
I
so
think
that's,
it looks
yeah.
very, very responsible, and when you consider what the other costs are, it's really prudently spent.
Okay. So that also actually is about all we have to say about that topic. Right,
Jill, would
let's-
you like to,
Anybody got anything else?
No,
Okay.
okay, so we still haven't expended all the funds, but we're really close. And so if anything comes up, we'll email everybody, but we agreed last time at the meeting about this, so I think we're good.
okay.
Okay. Good. Next on the agenda is the ComEd talk of October 13th and the outcome. It was a really great talk.
Agnes and I spoke at the awards banquet for the ComEd Green Regions grants for this year. It was just a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah. So they
People-
actually looked at past grant recipients for the last few years, and they picked ours from the 2014 grant that we received, and they wanted, so we were the only speaker there about that, about the, as a former recipient, to talk to a whole room of, there was probably 300 people there.
Mhm. The one amazing thing that Open Lands is the administrative body that disperses the funds and goes through all the applications and everything. And the grant, the loan guy, who we've been in contact with for setting up the whole thing, scooped us up the second we came in. And he glommed onto us, and he made sure that we were with him all the time, and we were sitting with him at the table. And at one point, it was really incredible, he said that we were actually the gold standard that everybody gets measured by.
He said there's a checklist, when people get grants, and he said that if you go down the list, you could just check off every single point as far as what we did with the grant and how we superseded everything and how much more we put into the grant and how much we accomplished with the grant. And so it was really nice. And then we talked for 5 minutes about it. We didn't have any visual aids, and Dana cried. Sorry, I had to mention it, but it was really emotional. It was really sweet, and it was a great audience. And people walked up to us afterwards, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, they actually came back to us after that event, and they have their media group reached out to us about our grants. It started out with the one that we gave the talk about, but then they expanded it to both of them when they realized, what we have done.
It's a company that they hire for like outreach and
Right,
media.
So we had an ongoing conversation with them for a couple of weeks, I think, and
So they said they have 22 media outlets that they're gonna give this information to, so we might be seeing information about the City of Prospect Heights Park District, Natural Resources Commission, and, it could be in
gave them
papers, it
boatloads
could
of
be in
photos,
some
gave them
videos or,
stories. We gave them all
knows
the
what
links
it's
to the
called.
journal so they could
Yeah.
read about everything, so it's really nice. ComEd is just, they're stellar citizens, and
Yeah.
it's
really
great to do anything with them.
the CEO of ComEd was there was some congressmen, there was a whole table of political figures there. It was really nice.
That's great.
Yeah, getting the word out.
Yeah.
It was a nice,
Okay.
we shared our story, and it was really nice to do so.
Well deserved,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And maybe I'll just mention right here then, that we've been asked to speak. We've been asked to speak elsewhere. So the Garden Club would like us to speak in January. And so we were thinking, since we've already done the SLU presentation, it would be very easy to just do it again.
Sure.
One of the volunteers had mentioned taking the show on the road, and we all laughed, but I think, let's
Why
just
not?
do that.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
take the
what,
show on the
exactly
road.
what they wanted to see too,
Yeah.
was the,
Very great interest in the SLU and everything. So what day was that? That was
January 4th.
January 4th.
And we don't know exactly if it's Arlington Heights Garden Club or
We got
Prospect Heights
confused. We were
Garden Club.
confused. We thought it was the Prospect Heights Garden Club until they mentioned that it was at the Arlington Heights
Park District.
Park District. We'll figure that all out. But it would be January 4th at 1 PM.
Okay.
So Ed, I don't know what your availability is, but you were a speaker at the previous speech, and so was John, and so was Jill. Jill, I don't know what your
Yeah,
availability.
Jill have already talked to.
Okay. So I guess, we'll all come together and see if we're all available that day.
Time of day? do we
1
know?
PM.
1 PM.
It's 1 PM. It's in the middle of the day. But, if any of us can't make it, then we can
Yeah, just
make
pick
up
up
the
the
other
slack,
parts. Yeah. Somebody else will speak the other parts. I think it's a great opportunity to get the story out.
What about the
Even
one
more.
in Chicago?
Oh, and I also was, there's a garden club, it's called the Northtown Garden Society. They're around the Rogers Park area in Chicago, and they've also asked us to speak. And so they meet on the first Thursday of every month, and we have not arranged anything yet with them. But if you guys are interested, I think it's also a great opportunity. Just reaches a broader audience, and yeah, I think our talk is really good, and we talk a lot about, what you can do too as residents and as community members, and so maybe it can be a little sort of inspiration to others.
Mhm. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Peter, we can put in a park for there for you.
All I have is my backyard.
It's okay. So Jill, are you interested in that as well?
Sure.
Okay, good.
And I have it on my calendar.
All right, great. And I'll let you know what they come back with for the Northtown Garden Society, what dates, but it would be a first Thursday of some month,
Sure.
the next 6 months probably.
And I guess the garden club is Arlington Heights, though.
Yeah? Okay. But we'll double check. Yeah, okay. So that's that. Next on the agenda is the Mark Arthur sixth grade workday, and on October 27th. So it was a really great workday. It was very cold, very windy. The kids were dressed. I brought extra gloves, and so the kids that didn't bring the gloves, they all took the gloves. And we started off collecting some compass plant and out in the prairie, and then all of a sudden the kids got really excited about milkweed. They got so excited about milkweed that they just took off. And so we ended up almost running down the trail looking for milkweeds, and they would just jump in and get pods, and that really made them warm too. And it sort of got everybody going and excited, so it was a really nice event. So much so that the teacher has asked us if we would have anything in February that we can think of to it's part of their Make a Difference Day. And I think the kids had a really great time. I had a great time. They learned a lot. We did a little educational piece about native plants, and they got really into milkweeds. They took some home with them
Right.
too. Everybody wanted one.
I think we could arrange something with a bonfire and maybe do a kibasa.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's February, it's gonna be cold, and I was thinking maybe something indoor. The teacher mentioned that they do have a science lab, which we could use, so we could have them planting things, but it seems like that's sort of boring, for these kids. And being able to be outdoors, but warm, and a bonfire and cutting buckthorn, that might be something. And also educational, of course, as we've been doing. We pick a nice little patch that they can do. We can even follow it up in the spring, because they also have one in the spring. They have 3 a year, that if somebody wanted to participate, they could come back in the spring, summer, and do some planting in that area where they cleared buckthorn. Something that they could come back to and see over the years. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Agnes, are they of age that they can use lockers?
Yes.
I mean, is that permissible?
Yes, yes. Probably would have them sign the waivers.
Oh, yeah,
for that,
absolutely,
yeah,
sign the
before
waiver.
they come to it, but yes, they are. They're in 6th grade, so I guess they're,
Them or
12.
Their parents.
their parents would say, sign the waiver, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other ideas for that in February?
No, February's a long ways away. I mean, a lot can happen.
Yeah, we could
between
still
now
talk
and
about
then.
it by then.
Was
but-
it beginning of the month, end of month? Because end of month weather can be decent,
Mhm.
it all depends.
Right.
That's when it starts turning.
Mhm. Just thinking of
But if it's
activities that would
early
actually help.
February, probably you're looking at more definitely winter
Yeah,
circum.
Right.
Mhm.
I think it was around mid-February, but I'll double check. We still have a little bit of time to discuss everything. But I said we were definitely open, so if everybody's in agreement, I think it's a great opportunity to get to get kids involved
Yeah,
in
they can
nature
start.
and outdoors. And
Start planting seeds,
Mhm.
in pots or whatever.
we can even do that indoors
Yeah.
yeah. 'Cause for this event, for instance, if the weather was completely not going to cooperate with us, I had, seed processing trays and things for them to do, so. There's always something to consider if the weather doesn't play out. Okay, great. Anything else about that? No. New business, seed collection update. We've collected a tremendous amount of seed.
Down from other years, though.
Yeah, a little bit less than.
We lost a
some other-
lot of days.
Because we did. There was a lot of rain, rain events, but we still collected a lot of seed. We have 5
And
stacks of
this
trays.
Sunday-
I don't have a weight yet because we haven't processed it. So after our seed processing event, we'll have an exact weight of how much seed we actually collected. And we'll have the spreadsheet of all the species. I've slowly been going through and processing the things that are difficult to process, so that we don't have to worry about it so much on that day. So I've got the swamp milkweed almost completely processed. but all the other milkweeds have to be, oh, and then I went out to Fermilab yesterday, and all of the penstemon has been processed. It's just so amazing. It used to take us weeks. And they have this mill, and you just literally just throw it down the mill, and it breaks up the seeds, and out they come, just perfectly processed. Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
I mean,
Modern
imagine.
technology.
Yeah, I mean, they process hundreds of pounds of seeds, so. But I'd love one of those mills, that's for sure.
Next year budget.
Next year, but it's a very expensive thing. but
And
it's-
also with the seed collection, or seed processing, and maybe we should.
That's on, further down on the.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what about Poplar Creek? Want to
Oh,
mention that
okay,
now or
we
later?
could, we could do that with Poplar Creek. So this Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, Poplar Creek is having their seed processing workday.
It's Sunday, isn't it?
Sorry, Sunday, yes, of course, it's Sunday. It's Sunday, the 12th, November 12th. We are not having a workday that day. Our workday is the following Sunday. And so anybody that's interested in going, we'll send an email notice tonight about that, and we can all carpool again, like we did last time. But it's a really great opportunity to meet up with just really great kindred folks, and they usually have
There's
anywhere
about
from-
50 people attend that,
Yeah.
and then they have a big giant lunch afterwards,
Mhm.
and it's just, it's,
So you're welcome to bring anything to.
complete,
Sort of like a
total,
potluck, but they all provide most of the food themselves.
right,
That's at Crabtree again?
It's at Crabtree Nature Center
right.
in, where's Crabtree?
It was really, really.
It's right down
good
Palatine
time
Road.
Last time,
All the way down.
we had a lot of fun there.
It's a lot of fun. We process a lot of seed. Yeah.
Okay.
And then hopefully we can take back a few of those boxes. We can borrow a few of their boxes. Our boxes have been borrowed also by Isa Redlinski but she'll have them back by next week. So it's really nice to be able to share our resources like that, like Fermilab. You know, they let us come over to process our seed. We've grown a few plants for them. We've given them some seed. They've given us some seed. They gave us those hazelnuts last year where Peter managed to grow 600 shrubs. So it's a really nice exchange. And Poplar Creek too. It's really nice to be able to come together and share resources and help each other out.
Right, you want me to give the progress reports?
Sure, but
Okay, Heron Pond, there's nothing to report. Marava Center, the first thing we want to do is, officially, we're changing the name to the Nature Preserve. And so that's what everything is going to be called from now on. That was in a conversation with Christina a couple days ago.
for now,
So from now on, it is referred to as the Nature Preserve. We had our workday there, we got all the trees planted, everything was in.
really nice work day. A lot of
Agnes-
volunteers. How many volunteers?
We had 12,
12 or 13 volunteers
13,
come
yeah.
out.
Agnes went and watered everything yesterday.
All the shrubs and trees are watered.
Right.
Mhm. And we
Um,
expect a rain event this weekend,
Yeah.
rain
Right.
and snow, so
Right.
they'll be fine. But I watered them just to make sure.
So it's in good shape. We did put up also all the nature trail signs at Marava.
Trail marker
The
signs.
trail marker signs, so those are up now, and they look really good. That's about it from Marava. The Prairie, there's, the burn is Commonwealth Edison, it sort of jumps up down to the next couple of categories there, but
You
that
can mention it.
that's going to be burned very shortly. We don't have an exact date yet. I sent Sarah Race an email this morning asking her if she had an update. But if you gauge it on what Cook County is jockeying for right now, it should be in the next week or two.
We might as well just talk about fall burns then. while we're
Well,
mentioning
let's
it.
finish up the rest of these.
Okay.
The Remnant Prairie, it's a lot of work to do in the spring with invasives, and we definitely want to stay on top of that. Sedge Meadows.
But the remnant prairie, I've noticed one species of plant that wasn't there before, right where we removed the teasel, the obedient plant, just came in.
Which plant came in?
Obedient plant. It wasn't there before.
Okay.
I mean, it just
Yep.
came up in that huge patch where we removed the teasel back over there where there's that nice section.
Yeah,
I know that obedient plant wasn't there. I even checked the records.
okay,
So there's a species that actually came back
great.
that wasn't there before. And then we have like big blue stem, little blue stem switchgrass just popping up.
Mhm.
Sido's grandma, which wasn't there
Yeah,
either.
it wasn't there at all.
Sido's grandma wasn't there. So I knew where we removed invasives, the plants have actually responded from their dormancy, waiting for the opportunity to come back.
Yep.
Really great.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
The slough, we're getting ready for our burn there, and that'll be sometime, same point in time. We're very close to the ComEd burn. And then Tully Park, I had a conversation with Wendy last, well, at the Moraga Workday. And she was asking if we had been there to look at it, and the retention basin that was guaranteed to not hold water has been flooded for over 2 weeks. And so the whole system that's set up there is not working the way it's supposed to. And we were, we originally had a conversation with Dan Peterson, and Wendy's asked me to go back to him and talk to them about, we originally wanted to naturalize that basin so that those plants would absorb all that water.
Wanted to help naturalize the basin. If they want.
That didn't happen. It's got turf grass and it's not draining. And there was also what you say, a sort of a cave-in of the, not a cave-in, but just a complete sort of crumbling and falling apart of the spill that they had created. And so it's a mess and it needs attention as well. So,
But she's working on that.
well, she asked me to talk to Dan, because I was supposed to talk to Dan this week, and I haven't done it yet. He
Okay.
hasn't got back to me. But I will talk to him about that. We originally gave him a list of phytoremediators to consider planting in that retention area to help with that absorption. And it just never went anywhere. They did what they did, and they got a bunch of turf grass, so. Missed a really huge opportunity to do something really good there, so. That's the update. Seed processing volunteer day.
Anybody want to mention anything more about that? No. Okay. Seed processing and volunteer appreciation day on November 19th.
Agnes, can you hold for just a minute, please?
No problem.
Just 1 minute, thank you.
Yeah,
No
go ahead.
problem. Absolutely.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay.
Okay. Seed processing and volunteer appreciation day on November 19th.
Okay, we have the nameplate for the Golden Loppers has been done. Just have to finish mounting it, so that is all taken care of. Christina has chimed in that they will once again provide drinks and antipasta plates.
It'll also be a potluck, so if anybody wants to bring something.
Is this at the Marion Estate?
Yes. Yes, in the garage at Marion.
So we definitely need, I think Jill, last year you handled the list-
food
The food
list.
part.
Mhm.
Could you do that again?
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, great.
Excellent. Thank you.
That worked out really nice last year. Thank you, Jill. That'd be great.
You're welcome.
I think that's about it. I mean, it's scheduled and,
Right, are we gonna put a notice in the,
yeah, we'll send out, it'll be a regular workday notice.
should be maybe far in advance of
Right.
the day, so people have time to plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Fall burns, we've always sort of spoken about.
We're going with the Cook County Forest Preserves. And they plan on possibly burning beginning or end of next week. They were really waiting for a good frost that's necessary for all the leaves to fall. We've seen that happening. Tonight, we're supposed to get a really great frost.
And freeze.
And, yeah, big freeze, all the leaves are gonna fall, and then we need it to dry out, but on this weekend, it's supposed to rain and snow. So if it dries out by earlier next week, they're gonna have a burn, if not by the end of next week, so I think that our burn will probably follow that. So not next week, but the week after that. What's everybody's availability?
I can do
It
one.
all depends.
Okay, what days of the week work better for you guys? So,
That's the week of the 19th.
yes,
Probably, yeah, Peter.
mm-hmm,
I'm okay for the 20th and the 23rd.
okay. Ed,
For me, it all depends on the day, because we're looking at the 23rd is Thanksgiving.
okay,
right?
Yeah.
never mind.
I don't
Peter.
think you're available after all,
Yeah,
Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you are in the morning. It won't take more than an hour, so
Yeah.
it really, I don't have a problem with burning on
so
Thanksgiving.
like the day
Yeah.
after, yeah.
But I mean, really, if it's an hour in the
We
morning,
can make it Black Thursday.
Cook County burns on Thanksgiving. It's a really small burn. It's tiny.
Yeah, I'm good on the 23rd because I don't work that day.
You don't work that day. I don't work that day either.
I don't either.
Well, there we go.
It's a holiday.
It's a holiday.
Great.
Well, I don't work on the 22nd or the 23rd.
Peter, is
and-
there any problem with burning on Thanksgiving?
No,
All right,
it's 2 hours, we're done.
yeah.
It'll be quick. To the
Agnes's plan is to start low and burn up the hill with a strong backwind. So
It'll be very quick.
it chases it straight up towards the asphalt, done.
Mhm.
There's
My
actually
week is
green
pretty
grass.
open anyways.
Okay,
That's Thanksgiving week,
Yeah.
I think. Okay.
all right.
I'm gonna actually take probably almost the entire week off, just to make sure. And then when we know, we'll probably know around Friday, Saturday, what the forecast is generally,
Yeah.
and we can pick closer to the day. So I'll email
Okay.
all you guys, okay? Good. And we won't have to ask Rick to come out, we'll just do it. There'll be
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
4 of us. That's plenty.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Okay, any other questions about that? No, okay. Journal articles,
The journal is, this is our Thanksgiving issue, so it's the big thank you, everybody issue. It's gonna it's gonna go out earlier, hopefully, right after the Volunteer Appreciation Day, so we can get all that in there, but before Thanksgiving. At least that's the plan, and there's really, it's basically just focuses on thanking everybody for everything they've done for us for the year. That's really about it. The McDonald Creek Commission meeting, here's John's summary, if you want to read that.
yeah, I just pulled it up. Okay, I'll read it. So here's the summary.
Thank you, John.
There was a discussion of whether McDonald Creek was considered a public waterway for reasons of who has jurisdiction of it. Being that it is not navigable, it is a non-public stream. A discussion followed as to whether there is an easement which allows public access to the creek. The answer was unclear, with some thinking there might be an easement drawn in some of the property deeds and others not. One of the members of the commission was going to look into this with the city. Discussion then turned to which areas are the most critical for potential riverbank restoration and stabilization. Mention was made of Somerset Park, as there is much erosion there. Other areas will need to be identified. We discussed what the PHNRC can do to help. Things we can do is mention the McDonald Creek Commission and its mission in our newsletter.
Yep, I'm gonna try to get something in the November
Okay.
issue.
Compile and provide a list of native species that residents can plant to help with bank stabilization. We can do that. We can potentially include this in our newsletter as a resource for resident education. We can also be a resource for residents in guiding them in what invasive plants should be removed. We can refer those who have interest and questions in the Creek Commission to their city website, and then he gives the link, which is on the city website.
Right.
Thanks, John. So that was
Thanks,
his
John.
update. He attended the meeting, and that's his update of what the meeting was about.
Yeah, and really thanks to John for going to that.
Yeah.
We're just so busy right now, we have no time to do anything, so that really helps tremendously that he's taken that up. And Jill has done that as well, so thank you,
Yeah,
Jill.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So those things we're gonna include in the November journal? then?
Yeah, John is actually going, he said he would write an article because he's more familiar with it. He knows what the talking points are and the hot buttons, so,
Okay, I can
And what
prepare
they
a
wanted
list,
to
a
be done.
species list.
yeah. Okay,
It's interesting that they chose Somerset Park, because,
yeah,
it's,
potential project.
yeah. So is Kiwanis Park, that big gouged area
Yeah,
there of the
it's
creek.
really- that's
Every
bad.
time I drive by, it's just, like
It's getting worse.
it's getting worse. Well, I've collected a lot of the prairie cordgrass this year, so that grass can really stabilize shoreline. It's like the toughest grass I know. And it can stand in water, it can be in dry, it can be in water. It forms these really deep root systems. It's a very tall grass. We collected it this week, so it can get like 8 feet tall. But boy, it holds onto the shoreline. So it's a thought
Mhm.
in those hard areas where nothing seems to be working. Okay, next is Reminder Nature Speaks.
Yes, Rachel Goad from the Chicago
Botanical.
Botanical Society and
Botanic Garden.
Plants of Concern is going to be giving her talk on citizen science, what you can actually do to help contribute to the database of science that is being used to assess things like climate change, migrating species, flora, fauna, everything else. She's a really, really terrific speaker, just a delightful person, and it should be just an excellent presentation. We saw her give us not as in-depth, but a very sort of similar presentation at the Chicago Botanical Gardens with Wilhelm, and it was really well received. So I believe there's quite a good turnout for it already, so if you haven't registered, be sure to go do that.
What am I mentioning about the dinner?
No.
Okay, all right, okay. And then the meeting scheduled for 2018. Jill has sent us the scheduled dates. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look that over, if there's any conflict or, no.
I motion that we approve the meeting schedule as Jill crafted it.
Is it pretty much like the second Tuesday again?
No, there's some variation.
I'm-
Third Tuesday.
Yes.
I meant
Thursday, yeah.
sorry.
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I make a motion that we approve it.
I just did that.
Oh, you did, well, I second it, sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Then the meeting dates are approved.
Just to confirm, it's the second Thursday of the month.
Okay.
Second Thursday of the month, yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. Visitor comments. Peter, you got anything to say?
Nope. Anybody else have anything else to say? No? Jill?
No, good.
Okay, great.
All right, so no December meeting?
No December meeting, we're meeting Thursday, January 11th at 7, but we will be sending out emails about all the things we talked about today, and especially before we do any ordering of the signs, make sure everybody's okay with the,
Yeah, I'll have a
Graphics.
PDF of the graphics to send everybody and they can get
Yeah.
approval.
okay? All right, let's adjourn the meeting then.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.